So we will see now edit and delete. So edit and delete, if I click the edit button, the data has to come to this form and this button has to be changed to update. When I change a data and I click update, the data is changed here 9 and this form has to be cleared. And again it has to change to save. Okay. So how to make this happen? And delete is simple. If I click delete, that item has to be deleted. Okay. So how to make this happen? First we'll see edit. Okay. Obviously, for the edit, you will basically you have to, when you click edit, right, some function has to be called. This is in to-do component, and this data has to go to form component. So from to-do to form component, you have to send the data. Okay. So how to move the data from to-do to form component? Okay. Basically, right, the logical way to think is, right, you have app component and you have a form component and you have a to-do component, right? From to-do, I have to send the data to the form component. Okay. So what I will do is, basically from the to-do component, okay, I will call a function here and give this data to this function. Okay. And then I will update this data in a state variable. When I update the state variable, the component will re-render. And this variable I will pass to the form component. In the form component, I'll have the value, and in the value attribute, I will set this. Already in the value attribute, we have the state variable. So whatever data coming here, if I set the state variable, it will come here. And then this button has to be changed to update. So based on whether this data is there or not, I can change this button to save or update. Okay. So this is the logic. Let's see the code. Okay. Okay. So first, when you click the edit, right? Edit is there in the to do. When you click edit, the update to do is called. Okay. What I'm doing, I'm calling the props.e2do. This function e2do is passed as a props. So when I call this, edit to do function will be called. So I'm calling a parent component function edit to do. And whatever data I'm getting, right, I'm setting it the state variable. Initially the state variable is null. So if I set the state variable now, if the state variable is not null, that means you're editing. This variable, now when I set the state variable, the component will re-enter, correct? In the to-do form, I am passing the state variable as a props. So the data I edited in the to-do came here to the parent component apps, and then I set the state variable, and again I'm passing to the form component. Okay. Now when I click edit, from this component, okay, data from this component, it is going to the parent component app. How? I'm calling a function. This function is getting called. This is the app component. This function is called. I'm setting a state variable here. I'm setting the state variable. Once I set the variable, component re-render, and I'm passing that to the to-do component. So it is going to the app component, and the value is passed across to the to-do component. Okay. Now it is coming to the to-do component. Okay. Now this data, right? If the value is changed, right? What you have to do? Basically, this data you have to set the state variable in the form component. Now the data has come here, right? The data has come to the to-do component. This data has to be updated here, right? For that, the simple thing is in the use state, right? in the use effect, when the props changes, right? If this data is available, the data dot title and data dot description, I'm setting the state variable. Because when I set the state variable, right? This is a TID and description of the state variable, right? This is a state variable. When I set the state variable, automatically your input value is the state variable. So it will automatically going to come to that input value. Okay. So the data is coming to the app component, data is coming here. Okay. And in this, in the use effect, I am just setting the state variable. When I set the state variable, automatically the data will come here. Because the state variable are in the value attribute of the input. Okay. So data came here. So when you click here, data is coming here. What I have to do? I am changing it to 10 and I am clicking update. When I click update, what happens? You have to send a put request. Okay. So when I click update, right, I am calling handle save, correct? It will be update. So if the to do is present, right, the data is present now, it shows as update button. Else it shows as save button. Question: if this value is true now, after the question mark, whatever expression is there, that will be executed. If this false, after the colon, what is that? That will be executed. This is the ternary operator. Right? No update is there. Once I click say handle save is called. If this value is present now, I am calling put. Otherwise, it is save. I am calling post. So once I send the put, right, I have to send the data. While sending the post, I have to send the ID. Okay, and then after this is finished, right, then only the promise will resolve. Okay, in the then I have to get the data again. So you call the parent component get data function. That will update the state variable and the component will be rendered. So you just call this function and I empty the description and the title and description. I am emptying it. Why I am emptying it? Then only here it will be empty. Otherwise, some data will be present. Okay, so your put is gone. So the data, since you call the get data, the updated data is displayed. Here you remove the get, right, and update. Now grade is removed here. How this is when you change here, how this is coming here? Because after the put, you are getting the data again and displaying because of this line. Okay. Oh, okay. Now when I click delete, right, the content is getting deleted. Okay. So when I click delete button, this should be in the form component, right? When I click the so this will be in the to do's component, right? Delete and edit button. I'm calling delete to do. In delete to do, I have to call a delete and I have to just pass the item ID. Access or delete. In the response, what I have to do? I have to again call the get data. Now get data is part of the get to do itself. Get to do itself is getting the data, right? Because this component only renders it. So I just call this get data function. It will set the state variable and the component will re-render. So I call the get data this get data function. So this component alone will re-render, and I can when I delete, I'm able to see the. That's it.